Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our entitled parents. In today's episode, new neighbors repeatedly called cops because the direction our car was parked in the cul-de-sac. My entitled dad thinks I could work with 2 degrees. Entitled dad insists on 2 toddlers be present at a nice restaurant past their bedtime. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. New neighbors repeatedly called cops because the direction our car was parked in the cul-de-sac. Hey y'all. 25M. I was searching for the right thread for this. I live with my folks. We are located in a cul-de-sac. However, the houses that fall on the sides of the cul-de-sac. Imagine the letter U. We have a house on one side of the U and our neighbors across have their house in the other side. Our houses face each other. My dad parks on the strip of property on side, front of our house because we have 3 cars on the driveway. Apparently, I'm assuming this inconvenienced the neighbors across the street from reversing because they repeatedly called the cops on us. It took us a while to figure out why the cops kept coming. When we figured it out, they were able to get away with it because there's a certain way you're supposed to park when entering a cul-de-sac. We saw the wife, the mastermind, sneak to place a notice on my dad's car. It almost got towed afterwards. We've lived on the street for 25 years, and all the people that have lived in that house, the neighbors moved into, have never done something like that. I believe it's racially motivated and also because of jealousy. We also are introverted, so we never went out of our way to communicate when they moved in. They didn't even bother communicating with us either. They communicate with every neighbor around us that all happen to be the same skin tone as them, white. We are black. They pointedly made sure to park on the street after those incidents to prove a point. Edit. To the people saying we are at fault for incorrectly parking if we knew. We didn't know, and we hadn't heard about it till that event. Most people don't know about this rule. They never spoke to my dad or mom. I also believe the way they had the same cop coming to assess the car multiple times was because they know him personally. Edit. We also are legally entitled to park on that strip of the street because it is legally our property because it's within the bounds of our yard. Edit. We are reserved but friendly. They are half my parents' ages and are in their 20s to 30s. My parents are double their ages and are old enough to be retired. We've waved, but the wife pretended. We have the best yard on the street and win yard of the month, and we have the best landscaping. It's obvious what's going on. When you stand out and keep to yourself, people perceive that as arrogance and look for anything to humble you. Edit. My dad parks in the same exact spot now in the correct direction now. Now there's no back talk or cops. I find it funny how they started parking on the street afterwards to hide their microaggressions towards us. The neighbor husband of the mastermind wife looks shame-faced now and used to wave to us, but his wife was clearly the jealous one. Now has resorted to looking away awkwardly. Trust me, I know it's racism. Finally. No one can riddle me this. If they knew we could easily just turn our car around in the right direction on the street, then why was it a big deal for cops to get involved? Oh wait, that's easy. It's just envy and wickedness. If you have a problem with reversing, just communicate. Doing backhanded ways to get our car towed and later pretend like it's just because we parked in the wrong direction on our property is petty. Drawing all these context clues from the way the neighbor in front's wife acts and ignores us completely and chats to the neighbor who resides next to us that we have clear documented evidence of being racist to us growing up is enough proof for our family. What goes around comes around. I very strongly suggest getting cameras that record everything, or at the very least, get a doorbell camera. That way if they try anything, you can go after them for a possible hate crime, since you can use the excuse of it being racially motivated, especially since people have been parking like they want up and down the cul-de-sac and they haven't gotten the cops called on them. We actually have cameras is how my mom caught the wife sneaking the notice onto our car. She could have easily let us know, considering we see her chatting to everyone but us. My mom in the beginning attempted friendly waves to her, but she would scowl and pretend not to see. She started talking to the neighbor to the right of us, who happens to be the parent of my sister and I's ex-childhood friend, basically all of them ganging up. They were able to get away with it because there's a certain way you're supposed to park when entering a cul-de-sac. We saw the wife, the mastermind, sneak to place a notice on my dad's car. It almost got towed afterwards. If there is a specific way that you are supposed to be parking on the street, and you are not doing it, then you are the problem. Race has nothing to do with it. Parking incorrectly can create safety issues and cause problems for people trying to exit their driveway. I'm betting your previous neighbors never complained because they were worried you try to make the issue about race rather than your failure to follow the parking laws. You just proved them correct. I live on a cul-de-sac, and you're the first problem. Snow plowing, backing out, you make it harder for all your neighbors. I don't blame them for calling the police. My entitled dad thinks I could work with 2 degrees. Last night we were in the car and we chatting about how I was talking with some family members about my major, chef, and how everyone kept telling me that it has a good future when my dad was like, it would be better if you still studied IT, so you can find a job in other major. And he continued how a cousin of mine studied agricultural engineering and still works in the kitchen. I'm okay with getting other degree, but not what he wants. And I know it won't stop till I do what he wants. Know a guy who traveled Europe for years solely off of his cooking skills. Cooking is an international demand. Go be a badass and see the world. I would love to travel. Also, it's so much fun working with other people around you, and they could help. Seems I made 4 posts about this topic. Dad, work is for people who want to sit all day, and people who are good with numbers. I would cry by noon if I had to do that. I am thinking I may double major, but it won't be it. Probably some business management so I can run the restaurant as efficiently as I run a kitchen. I haven't decided yet, but let's discuss it soon. Soon is not now though. Soon is always later. I have told him and mom that no, I wouldn't be studying IT, and my mom got angry and changed the subject in way like I was wrong. So I sown that I won't tell him crap about my life. I'm truly done with this gaslighting and comparing. Consider where you want to work. My brother-in-law went to CIA. Currently, he is in charge of entire school district food services. Before that, he ran the kitchen of a retirement home. Everyone else is emphasizing fine dining. That isn't the only path. Courses in business administration might be useful because running a kitchen is business. There are skills everyone running business needs to know regardless of what the business is. Do some research, pick a second major, defend that choice to your father. He might be focused on IT because he understands it. He might not consider other paths. ETA. My brother-in-law doesn't miss family gatherings. I'm thankful every year that he hosts because, yum. I don't like Brussels sprouts, yet I look forward to his roast vegetables, including this sprouts, every year. And everything else he makes. I are the pies his adult children make. Entitled dad insists on 2 toddlers be present at a nice restaurant past their bedtime. This happened a few years ago when my nephews were really young. And since I'm still having issues with this parent, I remembered this gem and thought I'd share. I, 25F, share a father with my brother, 30M, but we have different mothers. Our dad is an acquired taste to say the least, and he's relatively narcissistic. Our grandfather and his wife, not my grandmother, she had died years prior, had decided to fly in to visit, and this was the first time my brother had met him, so it was a pretty big occasion. My mom, who was pretty close with my grandfather, was the one to plan a lot of the event, and the 3 of them had decided my nephews would be a hassle for their parents to wrangle at this restaurant and would likely act out when they got tired, as we had planned a dinner, and they were still on a really early bedtime schedule, being toddlers. This was also not a family-friendly restaurant, as there is nowhere for kids to play. This was also going to be a large gathering with my boyfriend meeting my grandfather as well and my younger sister, and stepdad joining us, making it 9 people without the kids. So we told my brother that his kids weren't invited, as they were hyper, and so the two of them could enjoy themselves without having to chase their kids around. Him and his wife agreed happily, and we proceeded with planning. Well, my dad found out and threw a fit. He insisted that his grandchildren be there as they had the right to meet their great-grandfather too, which, while true, we had never planned for them to never see him. We planned for them to meet our grandfather at another point during the trip. He pitched a fit at my mom and demanded that they go or he wouldn't. My dad isn't and has never been married to either of our mothers, so it's not like he is berating an ex or current wife here. We obliged begrudgingly and decided we'd let him regret his choice. Fast forward to the day of, and as predicted, the boys were behaved for an hour max, and then they got bored. My grandfather's wife was very snotty about it and basically complained the whole time, and everyone sorta just looked at Dad every time she made a comment like, "Oh, these kids are so hyper, they should have stayed home with a sitter." My nephews are genuine sweethearts, they just have ADHD and were tired. My dad did have to get up and wrangle them occasionally, but it was mostly my brother chasing them around. He never apologized for the inconvenience it caused and never acknowledged he was wrong, but I could tell he felt sheepish about it. That's kind of trend with him though. Did he really expect it won't backfire on him? Let him feel sheepish. Play stupid games and win stupid prizes. Next time he'll think about forcing kids to stay up past their bedtime. Any additional adult gatherings, let your blather on if he wants, but the kiddos stay home with a sitter. If your father decides to not attend because he doesn't get his way, well, tell him we'll be missed. People only get the amount of control people grant them. That's a great idea. Actually, he wouldn't like that much at all, lol. I would have had the kids sitting right next to Dad. I believe we did, if I'm not mistaken. He still didn't deal with them. Upside was my granddad was impressed with how mature my brother was when he saw how he handled his boys. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.